All right. Good morning, everyone. Brad Roltkin here with the Fresno Bitcoin and Cryptocurrency Investors Group. Uh, Even though we hit the some new all-time highs in Bitcoin today, we're going to be, or this week, a couple days ago or yesterday, I don't even know what we did today, but we'll get there. Um, we are talking about crypto legislation and specifically a few bills. The Clarity Act, the Genius Act, and then this other one on anti-CBDC, which I think we're all in favor of. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got Lilli joining us here from the Digital Innovation for America group, and she's got some info on the Clarity Act. So welcome, Lilli. How are you doing today?
So great. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. And I know Michael, I think you were here when Lilli came to visit us in person and Adriana. So is she joining us today too, or?
Adriana will not be joining us today.
Okay. No worries. Tell her we said hello up in Fresno.
I
Uh,
will.
Excellent. So go ahead and jump in. I think you should be able to share your screen. If you've got something for, let's see, let me stop sharing my screen will help. There we go.
Great.
Just get into it. And feel free to ask questions. Lilli has all the answers.
I'll do my best. So, as Brad let you know, today we'll be talking about the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act of 2025. This is also called HR 3633. Yeah, so let's get into it.
Innovation has always fueled America.
Well, oh.
Innovation has always fueled America. Now,
We'll pause that. I just want to give a little introduction about what group I'm from. I'm from Digital Innovation for America, and we are an advocacy group that kind of promotes pro crypto and pro blockchain policies, not just crypto, but also blockchain. And we go around and we work closely with Stand with Crypto to educate Congress members and representatives about crypto policy. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Digital Innovation for America, I can answer any questions at the end about that as well, but I don't want to take up too much time explaining who we are. So we'll just get right into the bill. Um, so the bill defines digital assets as a category. It clarifies when digital assets are a security, investment contracts versus a commodity, like a decentralized token. It assigns regulatory authority and gives the CEC oversight of digital assets, securities, and CFTC authority over digital commodities, and it reduces uncertainty. And the reason why this bill is being introduced is because there's kind of nothing right now, and it's a really good starting place. As a bipartisan bill, um, it's a great way to kind of take the partisanism out of regulating Bitcoin, regulating cryptocurrency before it kind of gets to into the nitty-gritty. So it's kind of a preliminary bill. Um, it also provides safe harbor provisions to give startups a time to kind of get their feet on the ground and meet compliance benchmarks without fear of premature enforcements. And so these guardrails are kind of to promote responsible growth and pave the path forward for entrepreneurs, investors, and consumers confidently to engage in the digital asset community. So I know this group here all has some kind of digital currency, which is why you guys all meet. But going forward, this bill also takes into mind the people who are interested in joining or collecting digital assets and making it sort of more clear and more mainstream. So the Clarity Act matters because it creates a regulatory framework, as I said, and it also protects consumers. I think going around right now, um, scams are kind of synonymous with cryptocurrency, which is that's not absolutely always the case. And so having these regulations kind of takes that bad name, that bad rep that cryptocurrency often gets, and kind of gives it more of a backing. And action is crucial right now because a lot of cryptocurrency startups are moving out of the US and taking their business elsewhere. And we don't want that to happen in the US. We want to have the jobs here and we want people to be able to innovate here and feel like they can. So, this is kind of repetitive, this slide, but clear standards are really important. The Clarity Act kind of has definitions written, has pages and pages of definitions that kind of help. But I know someone said in the beginning of this call that the definitions aren't fully comprehensive. And lawmakers, these are just like preliminary regulations, and lawmakers will work to kind of strengthen these definitions as new tokens and new types of digital assets come to play. And another reason is the taking a stand against illicit finance. When you have these clear regulations, it prevents money laundering, it prevents cybercrime, and that's kind of what the policy is for, is to protect consumers. And so today I'm also here because it is being heard next week, and if you wanted to send in a letter to let your representative know that this is something that you want. Um, we have those links available too, and happy to open the floor for any questions. That was just kind of a brief overview, but happy to go into more depth.
No, that was great. Thank you. What, it sounds all good. Are there any groups or specific, folks that are against this
So
bill?
it really depends. We've been talking with a lot of like Congress members, and um, as you know, there's a lot of variety. So some don't even really know what a digital asset is, and then some are like super, super involved. And with the new administration, I think a lot of Dems have this fear that Clarity Act or Genius Act is kind of a way for certain bad actors to um, use this legislation to take advantage of people. And so I think the reason why people would not want to support this is basically because they have more amendments, not necessarily because of the Clarity Act itself. We had a meeting with Representative Liccardo about a couple weeks ago with his legislative staff, and he was kind of saying that he'd like to have a bit more definitions, a bit more context for decentralized tokens. Um, with that, just to kind of strengthen it, because he was saying he doesn't know when another crypto bill would be able to get through to Congress again, act of Congress, that um, that joke always is like there's a little bit of truth to this. And we've been meeting with Brad for like years and years, and this has finally gotten to a vote. So I think a lot of legislators want to make sure that it gets right the first time. But we kind of think that there's something that needs to be put in place now so that people can innovate and not have fear that their money isn't protected, their assets aren't protected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems you mentioned kind of like this was a starting point, which I think, was obviously a good place to start. And
Yeah,
we've complained for years that it's like, come on, like tell us what's a commodity, what's not a commodity, and just, a definition that people can agree on. And then, like you said, the CFTC or the SEC, who's going to handle what, type of thing. It's like, I mean, to me, that should have been done 5 years ago, but at least we're finally getting around to it as a country.
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. I know Phil had got look at this one a little more. Phil, any questions or details you're looking at?
Well, I'm always trying to figure out which token is going to become the next ETF because I'm figuring that's got the greatest potential to increase in price. So it looks like if there's a regulatory definition for it that gets it past the hump to be approved, then that's that gives you some clue. And so it seems like mostly layer ones are becoming are getting onto the traditional exchanges. I was wondering, do you ever see that happening with the layer twos?
Um, I'm not sure about the layer twos as of right now, but I think that going forward, since we have this legislation, these regulatory agencies are able to kind of take these classifications and then incorporate the layer twos like in the future, if that makes sense.
So like maybe we need a basic definition before we can have an advanced definition type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what a lot of policymakers are also saying. But the basically would be in the hands of like the regulatory entity about going forward with these definitions. So if we can categorize who gets what, um, then they're able to like regulate it efficiently, if that makes sense.
Okay, well again, they're efficiently in Washington, D.C. may not go together, but at least a
You
little
know,
better. Yeah. That's okay.
better than it is now, I guess. But
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Good. Anybody else have a comment? Looks like Steve just joined us.
Yeah, Brad, I've been here for about 4 minutes, maybe. I don't know specifically which one of the pieces of legislation you were just talking about, or maybe you were talking about all of them, but I
Yeah.
just posted a article from Political in the chat, which in my mind, this thing's going to be bipartisan at the Senate. It was Democrats and Republicans. Even though the Biden administration was kind of against crypto, it seems like there's been a lot of good education going on, and folks just like Lillian and others. So it seems like it's no longer kind of, oh, that's just a Republican thing. So with Crypto Week coming up, the article that I first posted, and then Lillian posted an article, it says it's primed for quick passage. But like you said, Brad, you never know. Their definition of quick isn't always our definition of quick.
Right. Yeah. And we've just been talking about the Clarity Act so far. That's where Lilly has her expertise in. And
Okay.
so we've been focusing on that for now because her time is limited. So we're trying to get all of info we can out of her.
Yeah, and about that too, I think you're also referring to the Genius Act. I don't know the numbers, but they are going to be voted on together next week if everything goes smoothly. And you're right, the Clarity Act has been pushed. We were telling people that, oh, it was going to be heard last week, and then the week before that was going to happen. But for sure, as you see in the Politico article, that it will be happening next week. And just to follow up on your point, about what DFA does is we do education that's sort of like high level education for Congress people. And some of them know a lot about digital assets and some know nothing and how it affects their districts. So part of our work is also finding use cases and like spreading that around. And we've met with Costa, who is y'all's representative, and their team's really nice. And when we first started meeting with them, they knew nothing about crypto, and now they're super into it. And so we're hoping that it passes next week.
Hey, Lillian, so I was formerly an elected official, and so I know a lot of our representatives pretty well. Costa serves about a third of the city of Fresno, maybe 40%. And then, but there's also some overlap with Tom McClintock and a little bit of overlap with Vince Fong. These are both guys I know pretty well. Have you got anybody talking with them, or you feel confident with those two? And then just south of us is a little bit is Congressman David Valadao. Any?
You know what? I'm actually not sure, but I think all of them are pretty for this bill. I usually I have like I work across California and um for people that we're like unsure about there that's who we kind of like outreach to and kind of give education. And I think Fong is pretty pro crypto.
Yeah, should be. He's fairly in line with the president. Um, and all three of the ones that I named there are relatively, I use that word, relatively conservative Republicans. So they should be up to speed. I mean, that's not a guarantee, of course, but they probably have the president's people and working on them as well. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm glad you are talking with Costa. I know that Maxine Waters, Brad, I don't know if you heard that, but Maxine Waters came out with, we're having an anti-crypto corruption week this week. So, but I think she's more of the far left progressive Democrat. Jim Costa is more in the center. And so I don't know if we could ever get people like Maxine Waters, because to them it's part of a conspiracy. But to me, now I don't know all the difference. I know what the Genius Act is. I know a little bit about the Clarity Act. Is it just those two that they're going to vote on, or is there a third? Is there a third piece of legislation?
You know what? I'm not sure, but the Genius Act and the Clarity Act is what I've been kind of monitoring. And to go back to your point with Maxine Waters too, maybe like 3 years ago, her office was a bit more open, but I think it was more of a personal experience that kind of made her go the other way, if that makes sense. Like she was more open, and I think one of her um, nieces or nephews got scammed, and then she was like, "This is a
Right.
horrible thing," instead of actually getting like educated. And why we need a Clarity Act, so it really does like protect consumers, this
Yeah.
type of legislation.
It's too bad somebody didn't tell her, well, your niece or your nephew got scammed, and that's what we're trying to stop, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
So, some of them you won't turn over, but
right.
by doing education, hopefully I'm not worried about this bill, but if you want to reach out to your Congress members about this, this link that I put in the chat in here kind of sends a direct letter, but
Okay.
um, I could also provide more information. It's really easy to find who your congressman is, and you can totally call them too and send in your own letters. Um, as well, if that works. We do have like draft letters I could share with Brad and he could share with the team too if that's
Okay.
something you're interested in. But again, everybody has different like comfortability, and I'm just happy that you all are um here and like talking about it because it's really important and kind of pivotal, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Good. Okay. Any other comments, questions on the Clarity Act? We'll get into the other two and our general discussion, but I don't want to keep Lilli longer than we need to on this one. Ahmed, did you have any comments, questions? Susan, Michael?
I think it's great. Thank you very much, Lilli, for all your work.
Thanks, Susan. Appreciate it.
We
Excellent.
appreciate it, Lillian.
All right. Yeah. And if you want to forward any of that other links, info, I'll get those out to folks tonight, along with a link to a copy of today's meeting, or recording of today's meeting.
Great. I appreciate it. Have a lovely day, everyone.
All right. Thanks again
Thank
for
you,
joining us.
Lillian.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
All right. Excellent. Hopefully you guys got something out of that. It seemed a little broad, but obviously we get into specifics and we'll be here all day, which is kind of what I ran into reading through the Genius Act, which I did yesterday, all 57 pages. So, Steve, you said you looked this one over pretty well?
Yeah, I looked it over, but I'll tell you, I mean, I can tell you how these guys do it. You know how they don't read those 1,000-page bills?
Right.
They don't really read the 57-page bills either. Very few of them will. What they rely upon is people either in the industry, and I know the crypto CEOs have been pounding these guys for about a year now. So, they're going to rely on, the Brad Garlinghouses of the world and the
Right.
Michael Saylors of the world, people who know the industry, can call them, take them out to lunch, tell them what it looks like. So I liked what I saw in the Genius Act. I think it's going to pass. I'm not saying it couldn't be perfected. And maybe you guys have some inputs. I mean, it possibly could be perfected, but likely my guess is they pass that one because Trump really wants it, and they're getting pounded on it by the big money CEOs.
Okay. Yeah, let me give you my impression of it, and then give me your feedback if I missed something or took something the wrong way or that kind of thing. But to me, it's pretty basic, just kind of like defining things. Um, I couldn't see anything why people would be against it. What I found really interesting was I think there was two areas where they talked about once this passes, it's going to require whatever group to come back and provide a report on cryptos within like a year or within 6 months. And I'm kind of like, shouldn't you find out about that stuff before you pass the legislation? But that was actually part of the legislation, which I found odd. Um, but it kind of defined, if it was over 10 billion in assets, then the feds are going to handle the oversight. If it's under that, then the states regulators can handle it, and they have to make sure they follow the same rules as the Fed, blah, 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 blah. Um, but it seemed very light and just basic to me. I was almost surprised. Reading some of the language is actually, crazy. And for us lay folks, that makes it harder. But, it didn't seem like it was that even controversial. Unless you're just totally anti-crypto and want to put a roadblock in front of anything crypto is the only reason I could see people would be against this. I don't know. What do you think?
I I agree with you 100%. I didn't see anything in there that was like, oh wow, that's a crazy idea that they're all going to fight over for 3 weeks in the Genius Act. And
Right.
that's the one that I've read. So the Clarity Act, I was glad to catch the tail end of that conversation. I don't know as much about it. I have heard that there are some Republican House members who feel that the Genius Act needs to be improved on, but maybe it gets improved on in one of the other, either the Clarity Act or I think they've got a third act, Brad. I think there's three things in front of them this week.
Yeah, the one that I put because I had this in the event page, and it's a bill on central bank digital currencies, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. Um, which, I think we're all anti-CBDC, so that's
Yeah,
an interesting one.
there's somewhere. Is that the one, Brad, that it forbids um, the creation of a digital currency from the Federal Reserve?
Right, right. That's the
Okay, yeah,
CBDC, right. And that's
right.
always what we've been kind of afraid of. Yeah, here I got the AI overview. The Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act is a bill aimed at preventing the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency directly to individuals or through intermediaries. It also restricts the use of any CBDC for monetary policy and requires congressional authorization before any CBDC can be issued. The bill's proponents argue it protects financial privacy and prevents government overreach, while opponents raise concerns about the potential impact on financial stability and innovation.
Yeah,
It's, yeah, some of these things are so broad, potential impact on financial stability and innovation. It's like I'm saying I'm concerned about the weather or, uh, the welfare of children. What the hell does that mean? It's so broad, you know?
Right. Just my nickel's worth on this is that I think a lot of this is well, they're laying groundwork. They're laying groundwork really, and so what they're a lot of this is about perception. It's about the general perception that the United States is going to be the leader. It's the general perception that crypto is safe and good for everybody. It's the perception that we're not going to have a CBDC or whatever that is. I always get those letters all mixed up. But the idea of a lot of this is not that there's going to be a lot of groundbreaking information. Excuse me, not a lot of groundbreaking regulation or even action per se. A lot of this is really, like I said, all about perception. And a lot of things in the financial world is all about perceptions. So if you look at every crisis that we've ever had or any run, positive run, bull run, a lot of it is all about perception, about what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. I mean, I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday about Lehman Brothers going, was it Lehman Brothers?
That went out? Yeah.
Yeah, that went down 140.
Yeah. Super.
146-year-old. And the reason it went down, it was the perception that it couldn't cover its
Right.
it couldn't cover its base because it was so leveraged. And basically almost pure innuendo pulled it down and destroyed it. Well, it's the same thing with this. Trump wants the United States to be the leader in crypto. What the legislation I'm looking forward to most, the one that's going to have actual impact and actual physical boots on the ground, as it were, is a Bitcoin strategic reserve. That's the kind of thing. I know that they have decided there's about 200,000 Bitcoin that has been taken by the feds over the years, Silk Road, for example, and they're not going to sell that. Now that's a pittance. 200,000 is a pittance for the U.S. government. They need I don't know, a million at least, maybe 2 or 3 million to really create a panic buying situation. So that's my perception of these things.
Wait, you're talking about you want to create a panic buying? Or
Yeah, I'd love to see a panic buying.
okay.
I'd love to see a huge, gigantic,
Okay.
everybody and their mothers realizing that we're not even looking at Bitcoins anymore. We're looking at accumulating Satoshis, right?
Right.
That's a big difference. You know, people are buying just yesterday, Thursday or Wednesday, when we had the big run from when it went from like 107, 108, and then it went to around 113, then it jumped up to just under. Well, there was more than 1,000 something Bitcoin that were bought. So there's going to come a point in time when there's going to be reporting on the number of Satoshis that are bought, not the
Right.
number of Bitcoin, because
Right.
the limitation of the number of Bitcoin that you have. So
Yeah. But what your reference to their 200,000 Bitcoin not being a whole lot, at least it's something. I mean, that gets
I
it to,
agree.
it's in the, $20 billion range. It's not,
I
yeah, it's still
understand, but
chump
20
change.
billion, in the time that in the 35 minutes this has gone on, I'm pretty sure we've spent $20 billion.
Yeah, I know, but the B word is still a big, a big number to most of us. So
I agree, but it's the T word that we're really wanting.
yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We want double digits in the T word.
Okay. All right.
Okay. We want a 10 on that T, and then followed by, a multitude of numbers that would just make us very joyful.
There you go. Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm
So
in this for the money. I mean, I know it's going to solve all this and do all that and the blockchain. That's great. I'm in this for the 10 million. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just that transparent.
okay. Yeah. Steve, thanks for this link on Politico. I look, yeah, just like you said. Okay, we can read that. But that's a great point you made, Michael, on just the perception of being the leaders in crypto and moving forward and that kind of thing. I mean, we've been talking about, when is our regulation? And I've always been like, well, what regulation are we talking about? But maybe this, the genius, and I mean, the genius is pretty much focused on stable coins, which is fine. And I mean, hell, I don't think we even were considering stable coins as that big of a deal until the last 12 or 18 months. I mean, because it's like we want the price to go up on whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Theta, Solana, Sui, whatever. But where somebody since I saw some comment somebody had made about money is coming out of US treasuries and going into stable coins, which was an interesting take. And I'm assuming there's some truth to that.
One other point that I wonder if anybody saw, I read an article a couple of days ago that said that U.S. corporations now have $100 billion of Bitcoin on their books.
100
In
billion.
their, the corporations at large are buying Bitcoin to put on their books.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Saylor, they have a $23 billion unrealized gain. So it's got to be more than that, right?
I'm not talking about people like Saylor. He's a different.
Okay.
He's like the whale's whale. Okay.
Okay. Okay. But just like
He's
corporations,
what whales
like
look to be someday. I'm talking about. Like IBM or Starbucks or whatever. I'm just talking about your average everyday company in the U.S.
okay.
There's a difference between someone like Michael Saylor or Coinbase or things like that. They're in the industry. They're in the business. I'm talking about people who have people who are building generators are putting
right. Just
Bitcoin on their books.
average companies doing whatever product service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And
okay.
so
No.
they're taking it off the market and they're putting it on their books and they see the advantage of having that. I mean, those are the type of things that this type of legislation helps promote, at least in my humble opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good point. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. Okay. So Genius. Yeah, I think go ahead,
I
Steve.
put up another it's also a Politico article. It specifically talks about the Democrats. I just wanted to show you how that stuff really works. So and I think everybody that's on our Zoom today knows this, but these guys are just getting pounded by the seat. If you think about California, mostly Democrats that are put into the House of Representatives, both senators, but mostly Democrats in the House of Representatives, except for the few people in the Central Valley and a couple in Southern California and the mountain counties, but mostly Democrats. But if you think about it, so much of crypto is based in California. It's going to be a struggle for these guys to really oppose crypto. Now, unless it's something crazy, but it doesn't look to me like the Genius Act or the Clarity Act have any crazy in them. So they might fight on the edges for a little more security protections or something like that. But the crypto world since Trump got elected last year, they've just been going, and even before he got elected, but they've been going gangbusters to find candidates, Democrat candidates, who are favorable to crypto and really putting a lot of money into the game. So I think we're going to get some victories next week. I bought a little bit more this last couple of days because I think we're in the middle of a bull run. And so whatever I can throw in there, I want to throw in there and take the ride. So, and I agree with Michael. That's why we've seen the bump. I think, Michael, if I'm not right, and you've tracked this more than I do, I think Thursday set an all-time record for the institutional purchase of Bitcoin. So it's not just guys like us anymore, right? And we've seen that for the last, probably year, little over a year for Bitcoin. But so I think, I think we're primed for a really good run here. I don't know what your guys are. I know last 2 weeks ago at our pizza meeting, I predicted by next month Bitcoin at 117. I wish I would have gone a little higher now, but
you were the most conservative of our
yeah.
I had 119, Fred.
Yeah, and we're not going to be together on the first, so maybe we'll call these numbers for next week. A week from
I hope to
tomorrow,
be
whatever.
horribly wrong to the down. I mean, I hope that
On
my
the low
number
end,
is
yeah.
really, really conservative. And yes, Steve, you are correct. The what I said is there was like over 1,000 Bitcoin that were purchased. Those were for the ETFs. And so there's only 450 Bitcoin being produced every day, and for most days, every one of those are being purchased, usually by the ETS. I believe it was about $1.5 billion in one day of inflow, and
Mm.
uh, that's pretty good. There's a lot of weeks when there's $1 billion worth of inflow in the entire ETF industry. And one day this last week, there was $1.5 billion. Now, as you said, Brad, a billion here, a billion there. I mean, we start talking about these numbers like they're nickels and dimes and stuff. It's a lot of money, but um,
Right. And if
I,
it's
I still
inflows to, excuse me, if it's inflows to ETFs, it's money coming from guys like us.
absolutely
5,000 here, 10,000 there. It's not a 500,000 here and a 500,000 there kind of thing. So
right. And I
great
actually
point.
like that. I mean, I like having the institutionals in there because they'll purchase, vastly more than we ever will. But it's the everyday people. Everywhere I go, I talk to people about Bitcoin. It was my daughter's birthday yesterday, and in the morning we went and got a drink, and I was telling the barista, "Hey, you should get into Bitcoin." I mean, I'm shameless. I'll just talk to, go buy yourself $50 of Bitcoin. Oh, I've heard about it, and it still surprises me that all these young people, I would think that they'd be all over this. But yeah, I'm shameless with it. I'll go out and talk to anybody about Bitcoin any second. But again, that perception that it's becoming mainstream, that perception. I also heard something else that 8% of the world owns Bitcoin, 13% of people in the US own Bitcoin. I mean, we have
Mm.
massive ways to go. I mean, can you imagine where Bitcoin is going to be like when there's 25% adoption? That's only basically less than double from here. That's massive, absolutely
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah. Excellent. And nothing wrong with being an evangelist. We need more of those, Michael. So keep up the good work. And the sad thing is when you mention those young people, probably the average young person has 2 or 3 apps on their phone that they could buy Bitcoin, in 30
Absolutely.
seconds, whether it's PayPal, Zelle,
Robinhood,
Venmo, yeah, whatever, kind of
yeah,
thing. Now that a
Venmo,
bunch
all
of those
that.
Cash App and stuff are doing it. So there's really no
Absolutely.
excuse. It's not like, oh, it's too hard. I've got to figure it out or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I met with Lino and he and I were talking, and he showed me how to make paper wallets. So,
Mm,
so we did have that little thing the other day, and luckily he said that the one paper wallet he had given me, somebody did take that, but all the other ones he was good on, that they hadn't been able to swipe that. But what I'm going to be doing, my plan is I'm going to take a few $100s and make like $10 or $20, just like he did, and I'm gonna just start giving it out to people that I know, and just make them own Bitcoin, even if it's just not, even if it's
Mhm.
just in a paper thing. Just as I know it seems a little silly, but once again, it's that perception, and maybe they start asking questions, and once you start asking questions, then you start doing, hopefully.
yeah. And if they feel they have a little piece of the action, then they're going to act differently. Good point. Maybe Susan, can we meet up with you and give you some paper wallets? I have to
That's very funny.
I have to give you a bedtime. I'm glad you have the iBid or whatever
IBIT,
ETF in your
yeah.
yeah. So that's
And
that's
I
all
put
good.
a little bit in, I have custodial accounts for my 2 grandkids. I put a little in theirs too.
Good. Good. I
Yeah,
mean, that's the perfect play thing, just put it $100 and oh man, yeah,
yeah.
changing the generational wealth. So that's
Well,
good.
I did tell you, I don't know if I mentioned a few meetings back, but one of the pastors at my church, he and I talked about it. He asked me about it, and he put, I don't know, 10 or 12 thousand dollars for his grandkids in Bitcoin back in the mid '90s. I mean, 90,000 or so, 93,000. And so that's for they're like 10, 11, 12 years old, and that's for like when his time comes and they'll get that in their inheritance. And I said, you put 10 or 12,000 in there, and then you're around another decade or two. I mean, that'll be worth 100 grand. So, 10 years from now, all things,
Yeah,
we hope it does.
that's great. That's great. All right, just going back to my list here on the Google Doc. I think we've covered everything unless you guys have any other questions or
I wanted
oh,
to hear.
go ahead. There was one other one.
I haven't seen Phil in a little while. I've seen Michael and Brad I talked to on the phone occasionally. Also, Susan, I saw her. But Phil, what's your take lately? What are you excited about? Um,
Well, going back to the topics recently discussed on the Genius Act, one of my big disappointments is that it doesn't address the taxability when you use a stable coin. I think that's really holding it back. I mean, if a stable coin is really supposed to be a currency, and because that's the way it defines it, it doesn't even allow you to pay interest on it, which is an interesting point in that act. But so it's not like a money market fund that's also supposed to hold a stable $1 value, but pays you interest. So that means for the stable coins, you really wouldn't want to hold a lot of it at any one time because you would be foregoing the interest you could earn somewhere else. So, it's useful really more as a, well, medium of exchange, right, between different things and but the thing holding it back there again is if it's a taxable event, if you actually have the burden of tax reporting when you use it to buy anything, I think that's really a bummer. And
But
um,
you're not going to have any gains or losses on a stable coin.
right, so why does the IRS still require you to report it? They
Yeah.
still require you to report it as a disposal of crypto.
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense.
No, so that to me was the disappointing part of it is that, and I'm not sure, I don't understand the laws well enough to know if that's something that's addressed in a congressional act versus something the IRS decides. But I would like to see that as the next thing that's addressed.
Well, it looks like that's what Senator Loomis is talking about. This was the kind of the fourth thing on our list on our event page, talking about exempting transactions in capital gains for $300 or less. Um, I don't know if you saw this article, but it seems like this would cover what you're talking about.
Yes, I think that would be good. Although why $300? I mean,
Well,
wow,
well,
why not?
on one transaction with the annual cap of $5,000.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you're talking about using, USDT to buy a tank of gas or dinner tonight for you and the family, but yeah, I mean, those kinds of transactions, you're gonna go over $5,000, you know, probably in a couple months.
right.
Um,
Well, maybe it's one thing at a time, like Lily was saying. This is a starting point, and they'll hit all those other things as adoption increases.
yeah, getting it in place and then bumping up those numbers, kind of like indexing for inflation type of
Right.
thing down the road.
One fun thing I'll mention is I have a bunch of these. I don't know how you can see it, but these gold Bitcoins, these
yeah,
tokens, and I bought like a dozen of them. It didn't cost very much, and I always keep one in my pocket with my change. So when I'm anywhere that I have to pull out my change, I reach in my hand, it always comes out with my change. And the cashiers, which mostly I thought this would be kids, will say, "Oh, what's that big one? Oh, I've never seen that before." And I just say, "Oh, it's a Bitcoin good luck charm," and I give it to them, and they're thrilled. I don't know if they think it's really $100,000,
yeah.
but what surprised me is that there many adults say the same thing as the kids. So I'm giving them out to adults and kids, and I just ordered another dozen because I'm already out.
Yeah, good to hear. We've got more evangelists going on. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
totally.
So, yeah, it looks like maybe we'll have to follow back with this one on Senator Loomis because she just a draft bill at this point, um, kind of thing. So we'll see. Okay. Anything else exciting you guys want to bring up other than the new all-time high?
Yeah, all of the stuff. I don't have many of the true altcoins that are. I mean, I own less than $300 of Pepe, for instance. So that's not where my money's at. But it seems to me that all of the stuff is moving back up. All the stuff in my portfolio, which I think I have about 12 different coins, they're all just blasting off, you know, and so that's exciting, right? We've been waiting months and months and months for this. So
Yeah, and I noticed that some of these ISO 20022 coins really went crazy yesterday as well. The Stellar Lumens was up, XLM was up like 26%, and Algo and XRP were up about 11 or 13%, which is
yeah,
it's a big move. And then I saw something on this Hedera coin, which is also an or a 20022 coin, that some country was going to use it in a beta test for crypto transactions. Um, like in the country or for specific, transactions kind of thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. So maybe we need to kind of revisit all those 20022 coins here in the near
yeah, I own
future.
some Stellar, and it's funny because even right now I'm looking at Coinbase. Everything's in a little bit of a sell-off right now. Some folks are taking some strategy profits and probably going to let it go down and rebuy, but almost everything is in the red a little bit right now. But Stellar is still up 4.29% in the last 24 hours. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, and 64% for the week.
Yeah, which is great for me, by the way.
Yeah, so maybe we'll
Yeah.
have to put that on. I think we'll do, unless you guys have another topic you want to talk about for next month, is talk about those 20022 coins and what's going on there. I mean, there might be a huge list of what's going on in a month, so we'll see.
Now
Yeah.
I know Brad and Michael, you guys are practically Bitcoin only, but have you guys heard of anything else kind of up and coming? What do you guys think about Circle stock? I mean, do you expect that to can you take off if we get good stablecoin legislation?
Yeah, I don't
Well,
follow
I
that
own
enough.
some of that now. I just bought some this past week, and so I still expect it to go up, and I still expect it to do well. If you look at the world and you listen to the news, and especially financial news, there's a word that you hear all the time, and that's digital. Okay, digital or cyber. So all of this is um, converging into this particular world. And so the only other, you're right, Steve. I am primarily a Bitcoin guy and have been. I own Solano, but that's really all that I own at this point in time. And I'm perfectly happy with that. I would love to be able to tell you some names I thought were going to rocket up 200, 500, 1,000 per times, but I just there's better people at that than I. I just don't spend the time and energy on it anymore. I just
Right.
focus on what I do, with Bitcoin and Solana. That's all I really own these days. And I had a bunch of other coins, and last fall I started selling them all off and putting them all into Bitcoin. And so obviously those are doubled or tripled from there, that little bit that I would put in.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, I'm a Bitcoin dude.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Ahmed, we haven't heard much from you. Any other thoughts or questions? Give us some good ideas.
No, just I was curious. Why was there a recent increase in the crypto market? Went to 115 or
Is it, maybe anticipating this legislation this coming week? You just kind of, it's like on people's minds and, top of mind and, I better buy now.
maybe some whales or something.
Yeah, and then I mean Tim always brings up at the pizza meetings that, these whales or these ETFs, they may not always be being purchased or being purchased. They're not always purchasing on an exchange. So their price is not reflective in the exchanges as far as, pricing goes up as there's more demand kind of thing. So I think there's something to that. It's hard to quantify, but we'll see down the road.
Yeah, man, I think it is. Well, it's probably more than one thing, right? But there's just been, I mean, well, even the stock market is in a bull run right now. So people are feeling better about where we're at now. I still have caveats. I don't know how all the tariffs are going to play out, but the markets, the financial people have kind of mentally worked through all of that stuff. You guys have been in Bitcoin a lot longer. My understanding is July is usually a real good month for Bitcoin and the summer in general, and so we're entering into historic positive times for Bitcoin. I read an article the other day. I probably couldn't find it right now, but it said something about in the summer there's usually less big actions that get taken that are detrimental to the stock market and by extension crypto. So it's kind of more like there's usually more easy sailing through the summer months. And now that could get disrupted any moment if we go into a battle with China or the BRICS countries, over tariffs. I mean, that could be something that would destabilize the markets. But I think so in general, there's a positive feeling in the crypto, all of us crypto guys, there's been pent up demand. And then now with this, the United States government finally taking steps. I mean, we all wanted to take these steps in January, remember? But they told us they were going to take 90 to 180 days to figure it out. It looks like that's what they've done. And so I think that's it, Armand. Probably the one thing is that we're coming up to crypto week in the government.
Well, there was also over $1 billion of short sellers that had to cover.
Yeah, they got wiped out.
Yeah, so there was pretty much a massive short squeeze.
Whenever I hear short sellers getting crushed,
It makes you happy.
oh my gosh, like a brand new baby. Oh man, I just like all happy. I'm more, please, come in more short sellers and then crush them.
On Bitcoin or just in general on
Oh,
everything?
either. I find I understand the dynamics behind it, and I understand that there are certain times, like especially in the stock market, where shorting is good. But for me, I find shorting un-American because you're basically betting that a company, a U.S. company, is going to go down, and you're going to make a profit on that. And as a patriotic American, I find that abhorrent. So, I mean, in my career of trading, which I've been doing trading on the stock market since August of 1982, I've probably only purchased, I've never shorted, but I've only probably purchased 4 or 5 puts, which is a bet that a certain thing is going to go down. And I lost every time, but I haven't done it in decades. And I just, when I hear that there's a short squeeze, woohoo, it's time to go out and have some steak dinners. Seriously.
All right, good deal. All right, well we'll call it there, and our get together in person next is just a week away, with this one being late and not being able to meet the following weekend. We're kind of pushing those together, but that's okay. The summer's like that, a little crazy
So
sometimes.
that's next Sunday?
Next Sunday, a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's on the meetup.
Yeah.
And I'll send out a reminder too. So hopefully you guys can make that, and then we'll go from there and see what happens on the legislation this week. I will send out a link when I get the info from Lilli, and a link to this recording if you guys want to share that with anybody on your Facebook page or anything like that. Any ideas for next month other than this 20022 coins?
I always like it when you have guest speakers,
Okay.
regardless of the topic.
I didn't hear that. What did you say, Phil? You like what?
Guest speakers.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't like us in the group as much as other
Oh,
people.
no, I just think it helps to stimulate the discussion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll keep working on that. Okay. Very good, guys. All right. Have a good weekend and
Thanks,
try to stay
Brad.
cool. Take care.
Thank
All
you.
right.
You.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Brad. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.